Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's God, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again.
What's up, guys?
Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas.
There's a delay. There we go. Cool. Okay. Let's check my mic. I had a lot of problems today with my computer and the internet. Just bear with me here, guys. There, fix the audio. That's better. Check, check. There we go. Mic underwater. Yeah. I just fixed that. Thanks, Max. How you guys been doing? We had a bit of a dip today. I missed out on it. My chart was frozen the entire day up until this point here. Right, so it's just been stuck like that. I guess my internet gave out around 4:50 a.m. and I just got it running again about a half an hour ago. But might be just in time for a potential long precision coming up soon. Good morning, Kyle. Happy birthday. Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, my birthday was yesterday. Cheers. Thanks for all you do. Keep sec here. You keep closing too soon and moving your stop loss too quickly. Just need to let it play out. Nice calls, by the way. I hear ya. Yeah, sometimes you could use market structure to guide your stop loss. But other times that could let you down when there's more room left to grow between you and your target. So sometimes what you got to do is just be a little patient and not trust every strong low for stop loss rotation. Like this move here that we were talking about on Monday, and we're predicting for it to break this neckline and then rotate up to here while being like super mindful of these local highs. And if you use like market structure to guide your stop loss, like some people, you know, you'd start around here with your stop loss guard, then rotate to here, and then you could have been knocked out just around your break even. So yeah, I understand. So sometimes when you know there's opposing resistance coming, it's good to wait until that resistance breaks and then use the strong low that's generated after it breaks. But yeah, we hit our head off of the supply concern. We had the 200-day EMA here. We had previous value area low here. We had the active value area high there. Lots of reasons to get rejected. Plus, we had the supply concern and mitigated, I think, just one like low time order block. But yeah, after we hit our head here, we've been going in a downtrend pretty much ever since. We came back down to like that value area low. So this is the value area high, the point of control, the value area low for a 55-day range in the past. And so we could use the data points from that previous range to help guide us into potential trades like this one, or like this one here, or like this one when we lost the point of control and then start coming back down. You'd be targeting the value area low again. But we breached past that. Now we're back inside of this valley area over here. Go back to the 15-minute. So this little dude here, we were ranging here for about 5 days, 7 hours. So it's not a crazy one, but it's definitely one you would want to keep an eye on, especially since the valley area data is like in line with previous valley area data and in line with previous confluences. So right now we're coming down. We had this little demand zone here that we built that we kind of use as confluence to help guide us into this move up here. I wasn't in it, unfortunately, for this run up. It was too late. It was around like midnight when it actually confirmed. Yeah. It was not actually that late. It was around 7:45 in the morning on Sunday. But yeah, so at around 100,500 is an area I'll be looking for confluence for, like structure for longs. So if we get like an opposing like bullish change of character around here, similar to what we did here, I'll be looking for longs going into the valley area high. The way we kind of behaved along the way down, we have some fair value gaps that we could fill. So we could have a quick move return back up if we have some bullish confluence allow us to get there. So I'd recommend marking like this previous value area data here for a bit. The value area high, the point of control, and lastly that value area low. And right now it's getting a little bit of a bounce reaction off the previous macro value area high. And I'll zoom out so you can see where that came from. There we go. All right, zooming out. We've got this pretty darn strong demand zone here from this previous valley area. This is the valley area high that we're bouncing off of right now. We use it consistently as resistance, support, and now we're coming down to use it as support again. That doesn't mean that it'll be honored, so we do have to wait for that market structure to advise us that it's kind of safe. Yeah, if we do get that reversal structure, we can see now after looking at the 4-hour time frame that we have a 4-hour order block right near that valley area high. So that's likely where I'm going to be targeting along the way up, in hopes, of course, that we break through it and get a continuation. What's up, Alex of Crypto? What's up, man? Jeff, we have the same birthday last year, also the same. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for the birthday stuff. Happy birthday, bro. Yeah, I lost a trade on my birthday. How rude. But it was a half risk trade, so it wasn't the end of the world. But yeah, yesterday I took Legacy SFP with the community. It's all right. I was like, oh, no problem. We'll be able to recover it. those gains, hopefully in the same day, but after, where was it? Yeah, after we had our stop loss hit, we built this regression trend right here. So over here on our left, we had this low swept. The MFI was on like the low side as well, like below 30, and we had basically a technical target of this supply here to retest. And that was the technical target for the SFP as well too. And then we just ended up like losing all of our volume, and then had this really depressing slow climb down. And it wasn't until like, yeah, later on where we had a confirmation for the move up again through a change of character. But yeah, right here we're at an area of interest for a potential bounce. I'm not fully trusting it. Like, I want to see hopefully maybe down here, but if we have that confluence of bouncing off this key area of interest and have like that double bottom posture, yeah, I'll be targeting around I guess we'll have to mark that right now, the floor of the order block, which is basically where the VWAP is. So right here is the floor. I'll just mark it as local resistance. That's right where we, okay, cool. So 103 will be a big key area that we'd have to watch. All right, cool. Pathing be here, or preferably here. We looked at a lot of assets yesterday too. They were all positioned to go down. It's pretty depressing. We had, yeah, SUI was positioned to go down. This is where we were preparing for more of a macro long, but around here was an area where we could prepare for longs as well. We had a decent run up, but just like Bitcoin, it kind of just flopped very shortly after. In this case, it got to a supply concern. This is where you'd be targeting if you're jumping in longs anyways. And then we had that bearish opposing change of character, and if you didn't listen to that, then you'd be going back underwater. And then this is our next area of interest. We had an order block here. It's like the barrier as well for the technical target for this structure. The technical target for these is where usually liquidity starts to go cold, and that is right here. So 1.8209 is the technical target, and we still have reason to get there. Like, we're at a barrier, but we have no evidence that that barrier is going to act as a form of support. We can delete this. You can set a crossing alarm for this area to notify you that you should be paying attention in case we could get a continuation for SUI down, or if we get the reversal here from the sweep. But yeah, this is our first area that we could watch for us potentially go range bound and come back up to these highs. Hype, same thing, same story. We're looking at that, preparing for longs around this zone, similar to what we saw with SUI, order block, but this one has the confluence of being at like a value area low. We can delete this because we just mitigated right through it. Yeah, we're kind of predicting for it to come back up to like test the momentum right here, but when it came back up, it basically just grabbed the liquidity from these highs and then came right back down. So we can delete this pathing. But yeah, still in a great spot to prepare for long soon for hype. We're at like a previous value area low. We're deviated from the active valley area. We could pull this to update it to the moment where we lost the valley area, right about here. So then if we have that too far of a deviation, then we have to watch the valley area low, potentially acting as a form of resistance. What I really like to see is when we have our confirmation level in line with the valley area, which is more common than you think. So if we come up and retest this area and then get a lower low, then our change of character level will be there, for example. So just waiting on the posture for hype before determining whether or not we can long soon. But this is the zone where you prepare. CAS was a bit of a letdown. We had broke momentum. It wasn't a trade that I took, but we broke momentum, had that bullish change of character, and it kind of fell down alongside Bitcoin after it also was resting like a key level right at a previous point of control. Bitcoin did the same thing right here. Lost at key level, got that bearish opposing change of character right here during this moment, and then just fell. Those are good confluences, but and SNEC, this was one of the community favorites. We got SNEC basically confirming like an ascending double top after hitting her head off downtrending momentum in a range that we've been in on SNEC for who knows how long. It's been, I think it was over 200 days. Yeah, this is a really important key level that you'd want to prepare for buy orders. If we get 360 days that we've been in here for. Now you could front run the acceptance into the value area, but you got to be careful because it's a meme coin, and these things, when they run up, sometimes they'll die and then they'll be in a forever downtrend. But yeah, right now we've got that supply concern here. We are confirming that the head and shoulders after hitting that downtrend momentum that's been keeping it down since October 7th. If we come down, maybe we get a lower low, sweep this low, either or, that will create this as our strong high, and then we could potentially have a front run to that break and acceptance to the value area. But I wouldn't expect all-time highs or anything like that. If we do get that acceptance to the value area, we have to watch the point of control. We have supply zone at the point of control. And we have the value area high slowly being undercut from downtrending momentum. So there might be a sell wall like following that trend line here. So just gotta watch that like a hawk as you come back up to it. All right, so that's SNEC. We went through SUI, Hype, CAS, Bitcoin, of course, Bitcoin. I'm just still sitting in our hands for this. We have the chat. Okay. Good morning, Mikey. Alex of Crypto. Sterling. How you doing, Sterling? If you go, Mikey, there's a buy wall just under 100,000, 107,000. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at that and see how big that buy wall is and go from there. So if we just right, relative to the valley, there's like a little demand zone here to be right below it. If there's a buy wall there. Let's go to, what am I looking for? Oh yeah, order books. Order books. Let's see. Oh yeah, I see one at 101 for the amount of about 400 Bitcoin at 101. And the one that you're seeing is a little bit distant from the price. But yeah, there's a lot of interest right now at 101, but it's not notable to say that that's going to cause a reversal. When you start seeing the 3,000, 5,000 Bitcoin buy walls or sell walls, then you gotta like freak out and take them seriously. But these ones, they can cause reversals, but they're not as likely, of course. 400 Bitcoin at 101. So yeah, right about here, with 400 Bitcoin waiting to be bought. Do you think it's a good price to buy Hype and Sol? Hype. Let's zoom out on this thing a little further. It's not the whole price action of the asset. This is Bybit's chart. So I'd be reactional to buying Hype right now. Because yes, it is notably a good spot to prepare for a buy based on historical price action. But the posture right now is looking pretty darn weak. So I'd recommend, if you're going to be buying, if it's like a spot buy and you're trying to hold for maybe longer term, or if it's just a scalp hold, wait for the structural evidence of support first. Like right now, we're building a potential. It's coming in from a downtrend, so they're not as likely to hit their target. But we got this like head and shoulders posture, and we're kind of like breaking support now. So we're kind of at a making a break it moment right now for hype, or else we could see come down to these lows again around $33. So I'd sit on your hands and be a little bit more patient. I'd recommend waiting for like a bullish change of character if you're going to be buying. At least at that point, you'd be buying at a position of strength, knowing that your money is likely going to be starting working for you a lot sooner, rather than buying and then have it go down and have your funds trapped. You got to treat every dollar like an employee, and they can't work for you if they're constantly underwater. And for your other question, you said hype and Solana. Solana, it might be the same story because they are tied tightly together with hype. Haven't looked at Solana in a while though. Solana lost, momentum. So the value area here, bounced off the value area low, got that bullish change of character, ran up, and then we had that opposing like double top structure. Clear signals to get in, right? And clear signals to get out. And now we're at demand zone. We have a 15-minute order block here. We got a previous point control here, and we are deviated from the active value area low. So this is honestly, it's a good spot to prepare for a buy for sure. We just got to wait for that posture, the evidence of support first. Now that we don't really need this momentum, we can delete that. We can just now focus on this. If we consolidate until we hit the momentum, which is crazy common, we could be range bound down here for about 20 hours. So you can be mentally prepared for it being slow. Yeah, it could be super slow here. Zoom out on the bigger picture. Yeah, still in this macro downtrend. We just recently broke this low. We have a lot of noise in this chart, so I apologize for that. Yeah, this is a good spot to potentially for a macro reversal. We got acceptance of this previous macro value area here. So, and right now we're kind of on our way to the point control. Bounced off a little bit here off this volume node. Strong area of interest. So getting that more larger time frame break of structure by closing with a full body below this wick, we can expect it to come all the way down to 126. So if the low time frame posture doesn't suggest a reversal before getting a daily candle close below this wick, then I'd expect for this to keep going down. So this is a very, very important level you want to watch. So like I said, daily close below this, break of structure, likely continuation down to 126, 125 area. You can use the low time frame posture to like define whether or not that will happen, of course. So long as we have like a bullish change of character prior to the daily candle closing below here, then I think that we can stay range bound here for a little bit and maybe even potentially reverse if we close above this local high here. Let's get rid of this. We don't need this noise anymore. But we can mark our low, because it could be a great swing fail opportunity. Set your alarms just before it gets there so you're notified and you don't miss out. And where are we? There. So I have my alarm at 150.67, and it'll notify me when price actually gets close to here in case we get the SFP sweep. Grab that liquidity. The S&P could be a good front run to a bullish change of character, and then bring us back into this value area, and then start targeting the value area high. We did see when we were at the daily daily price action that we had a daily order block, so I would mark that up too. So if you jump in on a long, that's going to be an opposing barrier you're going to keep your eye out on. That could influence the price action to reverse against you. So we could take profit location. There we go. Which is flush with the active value area high, so that's perfect. Good confluence for a short. If you miss the long, then you can potentially wait for price action to define a potential safe short. I'm getting a doji and a potential engulfing candle. We'll have a bullish order block created here. When you start seeing bullish order blocks starting to get printed, it's a good sign of evidence that institutional involvement might be coming in. Okay. Esther. We can take a peek at Esther. We can look at COAI as well. Nick Collins, do you use fair value gaps in your trading or only order blocks? I don't. I use them situationally to determine whether or not in a scenario where, let's say, I find a bullish change of character and it closes within a fair value gap and I want to enter a long position on that, I will less likely wait for a retest if it closes into a fair value gap versus it not, because of what a fair value gap means to the order books. It creates clearance. So there's less orders that could oppose you when you jump into that trade. And because of that as well, price action tends to not teleport, but move quickly to close that fair value gap after that candle closes. So it's a good boost for your initial setup to get away from your entry in a scenario like that. That's the only time I would actually use fair value gap. And they're good to be aware of because they kind of help define how the price action is going to behave towards your target. But I don't use them. I don't depend on them to be able to jump into a trade. So it's not a confluence that I care about, if that makes sense. I'll look for, order blocks are great in demand zones. And they're good to watch out for if they could be an opposing barrier. But fair value gaps are not something that I put a lot of weight into. And I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm just saying that they're not something that I take account for in when I understand my probability of winning a trade. Kyle, you missed the Zoom call. Yeah, I had Brian. Asked Brian to take over for the Zoom call this morning because my internet wasn't working until about a half an hour before this live. Okay, Esther. Let's take a peek at Esther. We got an Esther chart. ASTR. $1.12. Nice. Okay, so Esther's got some relative strength against other alts. We got this little bit of a rounded bottom kind of behavior. We were expecting for it to potentially hit its head off of this supply last time we were talking. Instead, when we lost momentum and get the bearish change of character, which is normally like a really good indication that we're going to be coming down, we only came down a little bit, held support off this local demand here, and then been in this awkward, slowly ascending regression trend right here. Now we are compiling more liquidity below us and keep taking from above us. So statistically, this should break to the downside. So just be mindful of that. And if you zoom out on like the more macro picture, we are building a rounded bottom that could have price action come down to retest these lows. So just be mindful. Yeah, the price action's a little awkward on Esther in general. And let's delete this noise now, though. We were watching this. This was a key level that we were watching. Then we got our internal change of character off of this. Right now, we are hitting our head off this valley area high. That could be the conduit that brings us down. From this valley area, we used it as resistance, resistance, resistance again. We tried holding it as support here. And every single time we came up through here, we failed to get acceptance other than this moment right here. This is a proper form of acceptance. And then we kind of double bottomed our way up to the valley area high after that. So upturning momentum. You can watch this. And right here. Those are hourly. Yeah, this is the key level that you don't want broken as a holder. Unless of course you want a DCA. And 106 right now, I'd watch out for 106.28. Any front run opportunities for that break are over. Like there's no more front run opportunities for that. Unless we pull back, actually. We had that bearish change character on the 15-minute. And we could come up, hit our head off of this golden pocket, previous point of control. The VWAP might block our ability to even get there, though. And then maybe use that as a potential front run to that break if that break were to occur. Yeah, Esther is actively bullish, but it looks like it's preparing for a bearish break. The only way where I'd feel confident that it's not going to get that bearish break is if we get above this valley area high and we use it as support. And then from there, I'll be watching 138. Where we have a supply zone here. This one's basically been fully mitigated, so I'm not too concerned about it. We should be marking like this wick level high in case we sweep that and come right back down. Just grab liquidity from that logo high. But yeah, after this, if we break past this, then this is the main concern. This is where we had our 50-day EMA start populating. We have a supply zone here, and depending on the pace in which we get up there, we could hit our head off the momentum and confluence with that and come down. But otherwise, yeah, I'm expecting it for it to break before this breaks to the upside. Yeah, this will probably break first before this. Chat, what we got? Okay. Thoughts on Ethereum? We could take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum. 3,400. Cool. Yeah, last time I looked at Ethereum was last Friday. It's one I don't normally trade as much anymore. Kind of got married to Bitcoin. Okay, this was our last setup that we're kind of preparing for. The bullish change of character after going into the value area low. And if you're late to the party, retrace back down here maybe. But instead we used the previous high as support. Got the break of structure, continuation to the value area high. We had the supply zone up here that we're watching. We mitigated that whole area. And we mitigated the next one too. Here, then here. And And we had this structure defining this as our target. We hit that target. Let's clean up some of this noise though. We don't need this anymore. We do still need this valley area. I guess we can watch this potentially act as a form of support. There's upturning momentum that we're just losing now as we're breaking into the valley area. We have this awkward fractalization of ascending head and shoulders. So here, right? And then here and here, here, like it's everywhere. So there's just, it's like think of it like, when you see the fractalization like this, just think of it as like warning signs that the bigger picture might be painted the same way. And if the smaller picture says sellers are coming into play, then the bigger picture might start painting that shortly afterwards. It's just a form of fractalization. It's a really good confluence to help guide you into a potential trade. Yeah, if we end up we got the proper pullback after breaking into this value area. So if we get the lower low by closing below this wick, then we'll have acceptance into the value area. Right now we're taking this liquidity and the liquidity from this low. So we're bullish, and like people are going to be preparing for a bullish move until proven otherwise. Like we need to see that bullish change of character or be very mindful of the potential break of structure that can drive us down. We got a strong volume node area of interest here. That would be a key barrier that I'd watch out for. That's kind of in line with these previous these lows here, where we had support off of basically using this area of interest as support, this previous high as support. So we can come down there and we could see us potentially bounce off of that too. But yeah, otherwise I'm thinking we're coming down to 3,200 again. It was a pretty easy call this time around. But this time, yeah, coming down this time, you just got to watch this one barrier. But once we get acceptance into this area of interest, it's easy for us to rotate to the bottom side, where we have a volume shelf like rushing around this point of control. It's looking bearish. Andrew saying that there were $600 million worth of liquidations in the last 24 hours. That's common, unfortunately. That's a common number. Long short ratio hitting almost 4%. Where's my bounce? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they just want to take a little bit more people out on their longs first. You asked about Teo earlier. We can look at Teo too. Yep. Okay, so we looked at Esther, Ethereum, Co-AI, and Teo, and CRV. Let's pull up Co-AI. I know I don't have a chart for that. Chain Opera. Oh yeah. Okay, I remember this guy. Looking weak. Yeah, we were looking at the head and shoulders before. And lost momentum. This is the 4-hour time frame. We had an SFP here, then we had the change of character following it. Massive double top. Some of these like double tops, like you don't always want to take their target seriously, but then they happen. So this target still not technically hit. We're bouncing off of an area that's not really that big of an area of an interest. I think that we could go lower, unfortunately, for this. We got this area of interest here, which is also the technical target for this double top. That 48 cents basically. Doesn't mean we can't build an area of interest, but when you look left and you see that there's like no volume here, you just went straight up, had this unsustainable pump. Like this slow climb down is like healthy for it. Happy birthday. Thanks, man. You don't have to do that. I'll buy your wife something nice. Yeah, she's been getting over, she's starting to feel better. So once she's feeling better, this Friday, or not Friday, this weekend, Saturday, we're gonna go on our first date in like a year because we just never had anyone to watch the kids. We tried going on a date a month ago, but then she got sick. So we'll try again. Okay, so look at this ugly price action. So here you can tell that it's fairly illiquid. We have these massive pumps and we retrace right back down. We had these 3 white knights here and then collapsed right after, which, by the way, when you see this, these are really common for strong continuations when you have 3 momentum candles back to back like that. But yeah, unfortunately for chain opera macro picture, I think that this can keep coming down lower. Its posture is super ugly. Like this is technically a strong key level here that you want to have broken, but it's super way up there. So you can trade internally to try to front run it, or you can hope for this to be taken at this low first. You get that bullish change of character and then start targeting the highs. So I would mark this level. But if we get a full body close below it, I could see us keep going down on this thing, unfortunately. So hopefully you're a trader of this asset and not a holder, because it's looking weak. So SFP here, or look for the bullish change of character around here. And then just watch these highs, where there's liquidity resting likely above it. That can induce a reversal around there. So you start being cautious around 125 area. Yeah, 120, 125. But you can ultimately target 155. But that's a big ask in terms of percentages. That's almost 100%. But like I said before, this is a low market cap, low liquidity asset. So it can do that in just like a few hours once everything confirms. So use low leverage, low margin. Let's be safe with this one. If this closes below, then I'll be waiting down here at around 50 cents. Okay, going back to Bitcoin. Still on our free fall. We are starting to slow down, at least the drop. We didn't have a proper pullback though on the 5. Oh, not even on the, on the 5, yeah. So if we get the lower low, then this becomes our strong high. And then we can potentially prepare for a short-term long into that daily order block. We can also pull a fib once that confirms too, and see if there's any confluence with that. Yeah, our golden pocket, this is a key area that I usually watch. It's in line with the supply concern, but we had the VWAP blocking it. We have this previous low blocking it, and this is where the floor of the daily order block is too. So not any crazy Fibonacci confluence just yet. What about 3 yellow Asians? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You sold it all at the top, expected dip. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm not too worried about you then. Good job, man. Okay, so next request. It was CRV. I don't know if we have a CRV chart. CRV? No. Okay. Let's pull it up on this one here. USDT, Curve Finance. It's a good one to watch if you are interested in the DeFi space. If you are interested in the DeFi space, we are building a course on that, and it'll be included in their membership for any of the members that are here. You don't have to pay extra for it or anything like that. It's all going to be built into your membership, and it'll help you understand the posts that we do here. Sterling, the mod that you're seeing us help on the YouTube lives, he also does posts here where you can merge 2 assets together for a liquidity pool and earn passive income, basically. And we try to focus on the safe ones. So the stable coins are usually ones that are safer because you don't have to worry about impermanent loss. But if you're good at range trading, then once in a while we'll post some that don't require that might give you impermanent loss, but if you know how to exit within a range, you won't get hit by it as much. Okay, so CRV, head and shoulders kind of posture, just had to break a structure, using this as sell side liquidity. It's currently driving the price down. The technical target does suggest that we'll come down to the valley area low, and I'll grab that for you from the head here of the head and shoulders. Click and drag that momentum. If it were to be maintained, it'll bring it right back down to that previous valley area low. So I'll be looking for longs again on CRV around 0.4025. We have a little demand zone right here that could keep us from going down lower. But I would feel more comfortable trading the lows from here. We have this downtrending momentum. We could track the pace of the sellers. And if we do make it down to this valley area low, it could take up to 2 days. Unless the pace of the market kind of speeds up. Let's zoom out in the macro here. Macro, we lost this momentum that held up CRV since November of 2024. And we lost it from that ridiculous crash that we had. We had this regression trend here, this downtrending trend here, which is usually pretty bullish. These usually break to the upside, but we ended up losing the momentum within the structure, right? And that's a big warning sign right here during this moment. And then we had this moment where we could have potentially continued to go up, but we didn't confirm higher. We ended up getting the bearish change of character instead. The last time we were here, we were preparing for, looks like we were preparing for, short-term longs into the supply. But yeah, that'll be kind of the same boat. Looking for, this is the pathing that I prepare. Or is long down here. It's likely going to bounce here. I'm not sure how strong it'll be. We do have the 6-hour order block. And 15-minute structure is very clear that this is a demand zone. Just be a little cautious if you're in a short. Going back to Bitcoin. Yeah, it seems like a lot of assets are currently at like a hard to trust zone. Like you only trust it, the structure says, otherwise, you know, it tells you, right? We have the chat here. Hey, Kyle Crew, what's up? Message retracted. What does that mean? Well, I know what it means, but... Can we look at CAS? We can do... Oh, we did already take a peek at CAS, but we can talk about it again. Did you miss Teo? I don't think we spoke about Teo yet. We spoke about Bitcoin, Ethereum, CAS, Hype, Solana, Esther, Sui, Snek, and another couple of like smaller tokens. All right, let's go through CAS and let's go through Teo, see how they're doing. So maybe we'll get a setup. Teo, a lot of these are sit on your hands, wait for the structure to come to you. Yeah, Teo, you know, we looked at there's this apex point, process move up. And we had this falling regression trend. These normally break to the upside, but in this case it didn't. We fell below this Prius Valley area low. We kind of built this awkward guy here. We have a deviation of about 50% away from the valley area. Yep. Oh, there's about 20 seconds left on this. Could get an hourly SFP here. The SFP target would be this local high right here. 2 seconds. It just confirmed. So we just got a bullish SFP just occur, sweeping this low. Deviation of the valley area. A technical target's this high on Teo. It's an hourly one, so it gives you lots of time to prepare. So this is the invalidation point, right? And with the 15-minute structure, we had a proper pullback. So if you want to give it time, you can give it, and maybe we'll come down lower first, but we'll see if we break this local high. It won't be a bullish change of character, but and so this would be your invalidation point. So if we jumped in along, be right here. You could use VWAP as your primary target instead of going for the high like the SFP suggests. Like the structure will suggest a target, which is this high, but you can watch your barriers and see, okay, to the barrier, what is my risk to reward ratio? And if it is above 1 to 2, then you know, like if you have to be reactional to this area, let's say we get an opposing change of character on like the 5-minute, for example, then you can get out knowing that you're likely going to get everything out of this move that you can. But yeah, a bullish SFP here. You can look at this 5-minute. Yeah, but there's a supply here too. But yeah, we got higher time frame posture suggesting that we're going to go up. So it's a matter of using the lower time frame to define your entry when you feel like it's going to be safe. We haven't broken momentum yet. Yeah, and internally we got this kind of like head and shoulders posture, so let's just wait it out. I'd recommend maybe jumping in if we break this high internally. And we just hit the... I'm gonna set an alarm for this really quick. Or maybe we'll get another sweep and come up from there. Like based on this lower time frame picture, that's what it's telling us. We're gonna trying to come down. So we know we have the hourly, so maybe we can look for the local internal SFP here. And if you get the low time frame internal SFP, then you can jump in on that to front run the potential continuation to the hourly target. Okay, chat, what's up? That's Teo. Teo's interesting today. Like, there's a lot of confluence for longs. Like, we got the hourly SFP, deviation of a valley area. We got strong, we deviate away from the VWAP too, which kind of pulls price action towards it like a magnet. It's just a matter of trusting the SFP. What's Bitcoin telling us? Like, Bitcoin is trying to reverse, but if Bitcoin fails and comes down, then tail is going to be dragged down with it. It's either here or we get this. I got my alarm on that, so keep an eye on it. What else do we have in the chat? Can you look at Zcash? Yeah, ZEC has been on a tear lately. Wonder if it's ever calmed down yet. We looked at it a couple days ago. I know Caliber was shorting it. We were looking at... Oh, it looks like we were looking at this SFP and how it was like technically targeting this area here. But yeah, we have this big double top. Double top. This was the front run move. We're preparing for long to this demand zone, but it never really gave us anything. Kept giving us breaks of structure, no opposing changes of character. Oh, this yellow line. Let me zoom out on this. Let's go with the daily. This previous highs. Maybe delete that. Doesn't look useful. But yeah, we're starting to lose this uptrending momentum. Zcash has been on a run for a while, but it just keeps getting higher highs. So the past 30 days, it's gone up about 20 21 days went up 263%, and that's after reaching all-time highs. So that's pretty freaking good. We know that privacy is kind of a thing right now, that a lot of countries are being a little shady with their regulations, and Australia is a good example. You're not going to be allowed to use social media unless you are like over the age of 16. So privacy, VPNs, all that stuff went up. So I believe that's why Zcash is starting to get some attention too. But again, I haven't been looking at the development of Zcash and what could give it some relative strength other than what I just said. You delete this. And we're coming in to this previous value area high. We're using that momentum right now as resistance. We confirm it as resistance in the larger time frames when we close below this low, because then we'll have that break of structure confirmation of resistance there. The front run to that right now was just the SFP that we had right here during that moment, and that SFP target was literally just hit. Yeah, we just had a bullish SFP occur with that target being here, but yeah, it's looking weak right now. It's hard to trust, man. Like the tail right now is a little tough to trust too until we have some lower time frame structure defining reversal. And Zcash could be trying to do the same thing, but momentum here, and we can mark this potential low to prepare for a sweep off of that. And the bigger picture is looking bearish. Zcash has like almost 100% of holders in the profit, other than those that might have gotten in this trap here. And his technical target suggests that it's going to come down to as low as 367, which is a good area of confluence for longs. That previous value area low. We have basically a liquidity line right here that's being taken as we speak. So once it starts going cold here, we might start seeing reversal structure. Guys, watch the dollar vigilante. In his last video, it talks about Zcash at the end. Nice. Zcash isn't true privacy coin. Yeah, it's not like Monero. Just has privacy features. Wow, what's up with the sell pressure today? Cast BTC if you have time. Hey Kyle, do you think we have the May sweep from the 98.8K low from June 22nd? Well, there is a CME gap down there. There's demand zone down there. If we do come down there, it is a really good spot for longs. Like right here. Yeah, we could come down to as low as area and get that sweep. It'll be an incredible long opportunity, honestly. To come down, tap off this demand zone, sweep these the local lows, and maybe mitigate that wick level, and that could induce a good bounce. But yeah, we're kind of on that path there, but this is an amazing spot to prepare for longs. And on-chain data suggests that we should be preparing for longs too, like in a macro way. If we zoom in on that, let's refresh this chart. When's this last updated? The 10th. Okay, 2 days ago. But yeah, here we're coming closer and closer to our lows from April when we crashed down to, what was it? Yeah, 76K, and then September lows when we were crashed down to like 54K, and then the pullback after hitting the golden pocket around like 38, 39K. So we have the same like RPL conditions from when we were at those extreme lows. from like these areas here, and here, and lastly right here. And every single time we got to that zone of interest, we had a large move up. So it does look like Bitcoin is kind of like preparing for something like that, stacking more liquidity above us, right? We're building this downtrending momentum, potentially building a falling wedge. And as we get closer to this apex point, then we should have that long opportunity to bring us up to the technical target, which is like the all-time highs. But with the on-chain data, it suggests that we won't get into the same point of exhaustion when we met this high here, or when we met this high here, or when we met this local high here. The same point of exhaustion suggests that it won't be until 140K this time because of all the new investors that came in and the old investors that went out, realizing losses or gains, creating a good healthy reset. So when we do have that macro condition for a larger term trade to the all-time highs again, I'll be looking for 140K when we monitor the on-chain data, and then we start watching like maybe an opposing daily change of character as we get closer to like the 1.42 level. I'll be cautious. Around 1.6 is when we get that strong correction. So it is positioning itself for a big move soon. The stars are kind of lining for like 98K. We have here. Question, you had recommended Coin Bureau as a decent channel to watch. Yeah, Coin Bureau is good for an information channel to learn about assets. So I would recommend it if you're trying to learn about assets in general, not trading, definitely not trading, but if you want to learn about like what is Avalanche's tokenomics and stuff like that, or if you want to learn about XRP, it's like it saves you a lot of time doing deep dives. AI obviously lately is the way to go when you want to like learn about an asset a hell of a lot faster these days. But yeah, Coin Bureau used to be my go-to for when it came to like learning about assets if I want to save some time like deep diving in an asset. But it's usually they're not going to be deep diving like meme coins or anything like that. So if you wanted to learn about that stuff, then I recommend like AI. You think they're going to use viewers as exit liquidity. I don't see them doing that, but it's good to have that in your mind, of course. All right, guys. Let's take a couple more. Let's see. CRV, we did that. COAI, Teo. Let's take a peek at Cardano. Cardano, we were talking about. Oh yeah, this recently, yeah, downtrending momentum break. We were targeting this value area low. Be mindful of the supply here. That's why we expected like a pullback. We mitigated this supply, then came up and tapped this one here. Then we had the opposing bearish change of character right here during this moment. So we didn't make it all the way up. But we had clear warning signs that we weren't going to make it all the way up. When we had this bearish change of character, especially, and then you had the second opportunity after it retested. We got the lower low, confirming the neckline on the double top, and simultaneously lost this momentum, telling us that we're going to come down. We came up when Bitcoin did towards its point of control, but then we just tapped right into that supply. So if you jumped in any longs, you'd be watching that area anyways. And now we're confirming a head and shoulders. So this is the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, We got the double top here, so it's the Batman head and shoulders. These ones are super serial. The technical target for this guy. Yeah, it suggests 50 cents. We'll be watching the low here though. I'll leave that on there actually in case we come back to it. It's just here. But I could see confluence of us hitting this downtrending momentum potentially as support again while grabbing these lows. So lots of reasoning for a bounce here. But ultimately you'd kind of want this low to be swept first before returning back up. So I'd recommend marking these two lows. Just prepare for maybe the SFP or the bullish change of character, and then target the local supply and then get out. Right now, it's not showing it on my screen with my indicator, but we can draw it. We have my indicator's not even on this chart for some reason. But right here, we have an order block. Oh, then we just came up and tapped it. Okay, so let's mitigate an order block. No. Supply. Yeah, I'll still mark this high. Delete this one. So yeah, pathing. Potential bounce here. $51.97. It looks like based on this supply interaction that there's going to be a ceiling of a range and the floor of the range. It's a young valley area. And based on volume data, yeah, it does look like this is a good area of interest as well for longs. A strong volume node here. We're just getting acceptance into this area of interest now. Let's use this volume shelf here as resistance, support. Now we're kind of getting acceptance into that area, so we should get that rotation down to this key level. That's Cardano. And Bitcoin's looking weak right now. All right, guys. I gotta head out. I had a really good time with you guys. Appreciate everyone who's been subscribing, sharing. I also apologize for my low energy today. It's been a rough couple of days. But, and just waiting on the price action. We should have hopefully a signal soon for our longs. So get your long goggles ready. If you're in on any shorts, we're basically looking, watching the couple key areas for Bitcoin that could induce reversals. If you're in any altcoin trades, make sure you still watch the Bitcoin chart because Bitcoin's pairing liquidity with those altcoins are likely going to induce reversals too. So here at 100,580 area, this is an area where I prepare for longs. We just need the structure. Similar to this, bullish change character at a value area low, hopefully break momentum. The momentum is really steep right now, like super steep. We don't even have the follow-up break of structure yet to even define momentum. It's just went straight down. So we could be building a little bit of a supply block right now. So if we come down, it could be what creates resistance to help build structure for potential reversal back up. Right now, yeah, there's no real clear vision yet of when we can jump in. We have our key levels, we just don't have the structure yet. All right, guys. You have yourself an amazing day. Reach out to me in the Discord if you need help with anything. Freebreaker, I think you're in the community, man. Your name's so familiar. Oh yeah, Freebreaker, I know who you are. I'll look at Cast BTC for you today, and I'll send it to you in the DMs because I know we've spoken before. And like what Sterling says, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with all your friends. I do lives, yeah, like Sterling said, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We got calls throughout the week all over the place with the community. And we have one tonight, too. We have one tonight at 3:30. We're doing back testing on SFPs and merging confluences with SFPs to find out which forms of confluences are likely going to, what we can build our strategy off of, right? High win rate. All right, guys. You have a great day, and thanks for watching.